We are live. This is Why Libertarian. My name is Matt, coming at you every single Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. We have a huge show today. I'm going to part ways with all of the traditional shenanigans. Just make sure to like, comment, do all the things. Make sure this gets out there. I have some fantastic guests with me today, so I'm just going to bring them on, and we're going to start chatting about some censorship and some solutions to some of the censorships that's out there. So my first guest really needs no introduction, especially within the libertarian community, but I got Maj Toure with me, the founder of Black Guns Matter. How's it going, Maj?
I'm wonderful. What's up with you? How you feeling?
I'm good. Well, after shoveling 3 feet of snow, I could be better, but it is what it is.
Workout.
It is a good workout, that's for sure. And you know what? After the last couple of months, I could definitely use it. After the holidays, I could definitely use it. So, and you're up in Chicago. Is it cold up there or what?
Yeah, it's dumb. It's dumb cold. I'm sitting in the RV. I'm looking out front, and I see how the shovelers or the snow movers will move the snow up. I'm looking at maybe about 6 feet of snow pushed to the side.
Woo.
But it's a beautiful RV. Shouts to the team and guys that assisted with this over at Brownells. I'm in the RV. After this interview, I'm gonna do some more fundraising. I got like some apple juice with a little bit of snake bite in it.
Yeah, just a little nip. It's that cold.
I can't complain. I wouldn't dare complain.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. I got the support Black Guns Matter up here. GoFundMe.com/F/Black-Guns-Matter-Tour. I think you just upped. You're still working on the 400, or did you up the limit for this year?
So our goal initially was $25,000. We did the first 13 cities, and we said, it was very regional. And we were like, because we did the first class and a few classes in Philly, and people were like, yo, man, there's a lot of cities that would like this. And so what we wound up doing was saying, yo, let's raise $25,000 and give it away to do the cities. And we did that. And every time we hit the number, more and more people would go, yo, man, you got to keep going. Yo, you got to keep going. And when we crossed like $250,000, people were saying like, bro, just make it $1 million and keep going. Building, you need this. So now we're at $1 million is the goal. We would love to hit that by the end of this year. But on top of that, our next benchmark is about $400,000. And I want to be clear, this is money that we've raised over the last few years and given away to keep these classes, whether it's, getting paperwork for people, whether it's, paying some licensing fees, whether it's the venues, whether it's, getting supplies for the classes, flights, hotels at the time before we got the RV. That's what that money goes towards. It's to remove the financial barrier to entry for people from demographics that don't know about guns but are curious and want to learn. And so we help out that way. But our next benchmark is $400,000. I think we may be, I want to say maybe about $12,000 away from that. So if folks today want to donate towards that, if it wants to be 10 or 12 women and men that want to donate $1,000 each, that's great. If it want to be a brigade of folks that want to $100, whatever you can, just pay it forward. And so that's where we at right now with it.
Awesome. And you also got a Shopify up, right? I got some of your merch. It is fantastic. If you want to make a statement and let people know where you stand on some of this, like wear it and wear it proud. I love the fact that it is big and bold on your stuff. So definitely check out the Shopify store. You got any promotions going recently? I saw you were throwing out tees for 20 the other day.
Yeah, I try to throw. The crazy thing is, and my team is like, bro, you got to stop throwing sales. Not even just for profit wise, but just like, yo, when we throw a sale, people get mad and they have to deal with the emails because I'll throw a sale. Like right now, all of the Black Guns Matter logo tees are $20, right? And so everybody will rush to the website and get them. Now I don't have 50,000 of these t-shirts just laying around somewhere. So my team will get the emails like, bro, you're sold out. I seen that post 2 hours ago. How are you sold out? So, and my team's like, bro, you got to stop with the sales. But right now, yesterday, I made another sale because I can. And it's funny to watch them sweat, But
you gotta move the merch, man. Yeah, you gotta move it. Let's go.
It's like we gotta move it,
Yeah.
So it's all of the Black Guns Matter logo tees are on sale on the site for $20. BlackGunsMatterShop.com or BlackGunsMatterShopify.com. Blue Star Union just said every gun control law equals post-Reconstruction slavery. Bless you, Matt and Maj, for pushing for freedom. I thank you for that.
Now, if you don't know Blue Star Union, this is Dan. This is my boy here in Jersey. Blue Star is a nonprofit. They do 2A advocacy. So they're fighting for Second Amendment rights. It doesn't get much worse than New Jersey. In fact, I think New Jersey is pretty much the worst for Second Amendment right now. So they do the Lord's work.
Y'all are neck and neck with like Massachusetts.
Yep.
Which is ironic, knowing the history of Boston and all that other good stuff. It's so ironic.
Yeah, well, I mean, Washington's a bunch of like historic spots are in Jersey having to do the revolution, and this is like ground zero for 2A. So, but I thank you, Dan, for chiming in. Reminder to anyone, if you have questions or comments for our guest, share them. We'll hit them up live here. And now I got two other guests I need to bring on. So if it was just you, Maj, this would be a huge freaking deal. But I got two other people coming on here. I got Matt and I got Dan coming into the stream. And these dudes are from 3Speak, which we're going to be talking about censorship today. And we're going to be talking about decentralized. I got my Decentralized Everything sweatshirt on. We're going to be talking about decentralization. Dan and Matt are, what do you guys call yourself? The co-founders of 3Speak? Is that what it is?
Yeah, co-founders. Co-founders. Well, it's actually, Matt was the one that created the idea and I came on after. So you could technically call him the founder and me a co-founder, but he's been gracious and we just
done made it better. Done made it better.
It sounds like you're carrying him along there, Matt.
It's the other way around, I assure you. It's the other way around.
So I want to give you guys a quick opportunity, for anyone who's not familiar with 3Speak or Maj, if you've never heard of him before, just give us a 1-minute elevator pitch, and then where people can find you online so they can get more information about you guys.
Dan, you want to have a crack at that?
Yeah, sure. 3Speak is basically trying to eliminate the gatekeepers. We believe in the philosophy, the account comes first and the site comes second, and not the other way around. We believe in personal responsibility. We believe in censorship resistance, free speech. We believe you give the power to the user. You give the user the keys to the account instead of Twitter owning the keys to your account. And then the sites are no longer gatekeepers. They have to sort of try to attract you with a different business model because they don't have your account hostage. So really, it's just about personal empowering. I really dislike the term user because that's what you are in Web 2. You're a user, but on Web 3, you're an owner, right? So I'm trying to empower the owners, the new owners of the internet, and teach them how blockchain technology can really flip the script on how all this centralized censorship has been just running rampant.
Awesome. I love it. So I got you guys, I got the Twitter handle down below, and I also got the website that people can go find some more information. You're going to love this one, Maj. Guess where Matt and Dan are right now? We're freezing our rear ends off, and ththese two dudes are down in lovely, where are you?
Mexico.
Where the only thing cold is the drinks.
I was in Texas last week, not too far from Mexico. It was 75 degrees. And it's I'm looking at feet of snow right now. I'm jealous, y'all.
Yeah. The weather up here is, I'm just glad it doesn't stick around all year long, because that would be extremely problematic. I'll tell you that much. So, all right. So we're talking about censorship. So obviously a lot of people are up to speed with all the stuff that happened in the Capitol and kind of the takedown of Parler afterward. Maj, you were pretty vocal about it. I don't want to necessarily have you rehash everything that you said, because I want people to go over to your YouTube and check out some of those videos that you put up there. But my one question to you is, Why is it that you think that people don't identify, if they're like on the other side of this argument, that they don't identify that censorship is ultimately going to hurt them?
They identify with it. They just picking the time when they want to expose that they identify with it. They literally the definition of cherry picking. It's like I remember watching this documentary, which I thought was a great documentary, called Bigger, Stronger, Faster, and it dealt with steroids. And they were talking about like baseball, and ironically, like Biden even then was like, "Oh man, we got to get rid of this steroid thing," not because he was really being morally righteous, but it gives people an edge. But anyway, and like stem cell technology. Anywho, one of the guys, they were like, "Well, how do you feel about people, using steroids?" And one of the guys said, "I don't care if they cheat or use steroids if they're on my team."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's telling, yeah. And that's how the people that didn't like Trump, right, wrong, or indifferent, like him, love him, whatever, they fully understand censorship. They fully understand it, and they get it. They're just picking and choosing when they want to highlight it, and both quote-unquote sides do that. They pretend, they put their eyes up, and they Ray Charles when it's their team, but when it's the other team, they can see everything. They got 20/40 fucking vision. And so they're aware of it. It's just politically, financially, socially, and sometimes culturally advantageous in their view for them to do it at specific moments. So they absolutely know they do. They'd be like, "Oh, the cops don't know the law." Yes, they do. They know enough to go like, "Damn, I shouldn't really do this." They just go, they make a cost-risk ratio. I bet that you don't know your rights, nor if you do know them, you'll probably just say like, I'm gonna sue, but you won't do anything. So they roll the dice, but they're fully aware, that now they may not be lawyers, but they're aware. So it's the same concept there. They're aware of it. They just don't. 2016, and I say this from this perspective of most of those people that have been cheering for censorship, in regards to like tech has been, oh, Donald Trump, we don't like Donald Trump, so happy that he's off of Twitter. Totally ignoring the fact that Instagram and Facebook quietly just put his pages back up. But outside of that, they have that argument from that perspective. Pretty soon, when they fall out of favor with the guy that they wanted, the old dude, Biden, right? And he's on record pace track to show them very quickly what buyer's remorse actually means.
Oh, so, we don't need the legislature anymore.
Yeah. I think he did like 40 something executive orders in like 10 days or some shit. So like the point there is the pendulum swings that way, but they're absolutely aware of it. It's just fun to do it when you can go nan and nan. In 2016, they took a loss in their view, right? So they're like, okay, we'll be mad, and then we'll do everything possible. We'll break the same rules that if we got caught doing it or we caught them doing it, we'll break those rules. And if we win, it's okay. History's told by the winners. So they get it for sure. Yeah.
No, that's all good points. Like it's all like well, it sucked for us for like 4 years, so now like screw you. Like that's basically where they're coming from. What did you guys think? Dan and Matt. I'm sorry. I'll come back to you, Maj, for 1 second. But Dan and Matt, what did you guys think when everything went down with Parler? I mean, were you like rubbing your hands and you're like, this is our time now, or is it something where it's kind of like bittersweet?
It's very bittersweet from my point of view. We just think that all these alternatives, their hearts are in the right places, but they're still building on centralized technology, and they're still therefore corruptible, and it's still possible to take them out, right? It's like, when will people learn? They've got to move away from this. They've got to take their energy away from centralized thinking so that they can move towards account ownership outright and community ownership outright, so that they can't be shut down. So no one can shut them down, right? And but I also appreciate that people don't understand this yet, and this has been kind of 4 years in the making for us. Yep. But we're here kind of like saying to everyone over here, and everyone's kind of moving to these other centralized alternatives. What we hope though is that these centralized alternatives will realize this and build their tech and their account systems out on these decentralized infrastructures. So they're taking their ability to influence and censor people away. Even if their hearts are in the right place, ultimately, they're still a gatekeeper, a corruptible gatekeeper that in the future could be corrupted. So why would you put your eggs in that? Just remove the trustability altogether.
Yep.
Decentralization is about trustlessness. I don't have to trust you. I don't have to trust anyone. I can access the software. There's nothing anyone else can do about it. It's the same thing with Bitcoin. It needs to be moved across to the social media side of things now. And I'm hoping that people like Parler, or should I say services like Parler, will move their services across to set up on decentralized infrastructure in order to protect themselves from potential shutdowns in the future. And then you can have trust. You can build trust with the community in the sense that you're providing a service that you're saying you're providing, and you have trustlessness within access to the services so that no one can stop people from accessing those. And therefore, you can't get to a point where a guy like Jack Dorsey can shut down a president of a country.
Yeah. Dan, did you guys put in a call to Parler when everything went down, when Amazon pulled the servers, or what?
Yeah, we were reaching out. And to answer from my perspective, I felt exactly the same way Matt did. When they went down, it wasn't more because with decentralization, competition dissolves because it's not like I don't own it. I'm not going to profit massively from it. This is something that everyone owns. So therefore, if there was like another better version, I would gladly go over there. But I'm just trying to help them and saying, well, look, I believe in free speech. What happened to you? You were targeted and you were kicked off every level. It's like, okay, well, we'll kick you off from all the app stores. And now it's like AWS is going to take away your infrastructure. And now, they got kicked way down. So the first thing I thought was, well, man, they could join these distributed ledger technologies, back their stuff up on IPFS, help us build what we're building right now, which is a decentralized video and image storage network, and sort of create a snowball effect. The more that join in, the more powerful it becomes. Then it'll get to a point where you have 5 to 10 alternative networks. They're no longer alternative networks. They are the network. And Twitter and Facebook, who are siloed, start to become outcasted, and then they eventually either join or dissolve and become irrelevant.
Yeah. Wait, what was your first reaction, Maj? Because I know you were building a presence on Parler before this all went down too. So did you go to another platform or what was your game plan?
So one, strengthening my own website and my own servers, number one. Number two, and I knew that way back when Hillary erased and had her own server and erased all of those emails. I was like, man, I got some questionable shit in my emails. I should have a server, right? So that was one. The other thing is just, it made me think about a few things. How Napster and Sean Fanning changed the world. And it was like, fuck you, we want to do it this way. You know what I mean? And and I remember the guys over at Pirate Bay. I'm young enough but old enough to remember that. And to see how they played dirty with those guys. How they basically one of the guys was like, we're not in America, so we're not even around your copyright and trademark laws. Leave us alone. Right? And how, the American government went to go get them regardless, It makes me think about that. But it also makes me think about making it normalized, making it user-friendly, make the general public understand that this is not some like dark web, internet type of thing, because that's how we get more people on. There's a way to approach it where we are reaching that demographic to get them to see why this is in their best interest without losing the core principles of what it is. I think that if you ask people in a very simple way, generally they say, nah, I would like to have control. And especially, we're going to have an opportunity for that when, again, the pendulum swings. When the whole shininess of, we beat Trump falls out of the wayside by those people, when they start to see like, oh man, this dude was lying the whole time. He didn't give people the $2,000 that he said he would, so we got some space. That might speed it up a bit. Then it'll come back to, maybe I can trust government, and nothing's more centralized while being disorganized than government is. So that's one of the things that popped in my head. The other thing was, we gotta get the hood involved in this. And I hate to say it as crass as I'm gonna say it. Black culture, urban America, hip hop drives the whole shit. Hip hop is the most powerful form of expression in the world, and hip hop has been able to exist and continue to reinvent itself through these means that initially seem not as popular, right? So, for example, initially hip hop was just people rapping, people in the community, you know what I mean? People just doing their thing. Then it became bigger. Then it was like, it's so big that certain artists couldn't even get in. So they made it smaller again. 50 Cent said, well, I ain't got no money for that type of budget. I'm going to take these beats. I'm going to rhyme over them. I'm going to remake songs. I'm going to burn them out on CDs. And since the mainstream, quote unquote, mainstream won't see me that way, I'm going to build this market here. That is literally the same space that we're in. You know,
it's the same mentality, man. It's the same mentality.
It has to be the culture that we can create with that, with the merging of the hip hop and urban demographic with that science. Not only would it, obviously it's already cutting edge, but it also is very rebellious. It's what rock and roll and fucking punk rock used to be.
It's the new rock. It's the new counterculture, man. It's the new counterculture.
Exactly.
You know?
And
like,
so
I want to explain right? from my point of view, because I'm very much about this, right? What we're building is the ability for you to have your own website. So you're creating your own website, right? And making sure you take care of your own shit, and you do your self-hosting, so no one can steal your content, no one can shut you down. That's also part of the establishment's plan, though, right? It's to silo everyone, right, and isolate them. So what we do, we completely agree with this way of thinking, apart from the isolating and the siloing people, right? And that's all what they're doing, right? So to me, what we've done now with 3Speak is we allow the users themselves to be able to log onto our desktop app and then just host their own stuff, right? So they'll be able to click to run a node that hosts your content on their node, right? And they'll be able to click to run a node that allows other people to use their content delivery system. And they'll be able to click to run a node that allows them to enable other people to use their encoding systems. They can encode their own videos, right? And all of a sudden, what you're doing is you're taking. So a lot of people use Amazon, like Parley was using Amazon, right, for a lot of their traffic and all that type of stuff, right? We're now taking that away from Amazon and giving it to the users so they can do exactly what you're saying about the burning. You know, back in the 80s when people were burning CDs because they got blocked. Everyone was getting blocked. People were just like, fuck this, we're going to keep coming our own way, keep fighting the system until all of a sudden you got your own independence and autonomy. Well, that's where this decentralized tech takes us. You know, it puts the power into the users' hands to support their favorite content creators and store all their information all over. So when you upload it to your website, right? All right, it's not like this now, but as we go forward, you'll upload it to your website, and then it will get shared. All your fans, all your followers will just automatically click and download all that content to their own nodes. So if you get shut down or you go missing, I mean, it would matter, of course, but all your content lives on their drives. It's decentralized at that point, right? And then not only that, but they're not relying on your servers to run it, because all your community is going to run their own servers and serve that content to the rest of the world as well. And not only that, but there's going to be currencies backing all this stuff, currencies that exist outside the system that can't be printed by them, that can't be inflated or used by them, They're going to be your currencies. I'm not joking. You personally are going to have a currency, and your supporters are going to be able to finance within that currency. And what happens is, as they take part in decentralizing your online presence to protect you, they're going to be able to earn that currency. Just like when you mine Bitcoin, you earn Bitcoins. You're going to be able to earn Maj tokens, because your community are going to be able to take part in what you're doing, and then thereby get rewarded because the system will be able to measure how much of that shit they're doing. Your currency will create new tokens out of thin air, just like the fucking government does, but without debt, and distribute those tokens to the people who are providing the most value in your network, right? And it just flips the whole freaking table on its head, everything. Yeah. And the thing that amazes me is big tech they have not factored this into their calculations. They think they're going to go on and run Web 2 like normal, Web 3 turns the whole freaking thing on its head, man. And it's pure hip hop in the 80s. You know what I mean? It's like, to me, it's all about taking it. Take your freedom. There's nothing anyone can do about it, And this is happening.
You in Mexico, right?
Yeah.
you do understand that what you're talking about is like me. So, like, for example, I'm in Chicago right now, right? I'm in like a parking lot, right? But I got this right here, right? I got, a bunch of other things around, right? Because what I'm talking about is anti-establishment.
Yep.
How will you fix for security? You understand that you are a threat to trillions of dollars.
Hey, the ideas are a threat. The ideas are out there. There's nothing I can do about it. But yeah, I mean, in terms of, I got my shit sorted. Yeah, I'm in Mexico, right? So the reason I'm in Mexico is because the UK's gone full on authoritarian, crazy, mad nut job bullshit. Yeah, it's crazy there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So like everyone's all like, now don't get me wrong, right? I respect people's right to make their own choices. Yeah, I'm a libertarian to some extent. Yeah, but I don't respect people who force those ideas on other people. Yeah. Right. And so I've left because to me the UK has just become incredibly dangerous. All right, people are still living there; they're living normal-ish lives, locked down in their houses, yeah. But they haven't realised that this gets bad. This goes to a bad place. It doesn't end well, right? So I've come to Mexico because obviously I haven't known Dan. He's been here for a long time. Mexico, people are wearing masks, right? But people are still having parties, People are chilling out. It's chilled, It's a respectful move. It's more of a, I respect what you want to do. I'll do what I want to do. No one's like forcing anyone to do anything here. It's a decentralized country. It's very hard to control from a centralized Mexico City, which is one city in this massive country. So I'm here for that reason because I feel that my security is safer here to build this idea out, right? To build this out and just get that shit done. And, I'm safer here than I am fucking anywhere else. And don't get me wrong, freedom is dangerous, yeah? You want your freedom, it's dangerous, right? But I'd rather have dangerous liberty than freaking authoritarian control, yeah?
I'm more afraid of a government than anyone else. And I feel like Mexico, I came here a long time ago. I'm an ex-poker player. Imagine this. I live in Texas. That's where I grew up. Playing Texas Hold'em online. I'm doing good, making money. I wake up one day and the U.S. says you can no longer play Texas Hold'em. It's illegal. Can't
Ultimate bet.
So I had to move to Mexico. I had to move to Mexico to continue playing Texas Hold'em. That's when I knew the whole thing was fucked up. Wow, this is messed up. And I never came back. But I feel like it's no secret here. Like the government is kind of has to bend the knee to the cartel. People know that cartel is just as powerful. So it's sort of decentralized in a way that the government can't oppose a lockdown. It doesn't have the power to. The cartel couldn't oppose a lockdown. It doesn't have the power to. They're sort of like two dogs that eye each other. It's like, okay, we don't have to fight, but if we do, it's going to get ugly. It's the best of the worst, the way I see it. It's like, where else am I going to go where, at least here I can hide out. There's mountains. I got a security crew. I'm definitely, I'm not going to say much more on that, but I can get scrappy if I need to. And I feel like here I'm at least,
you're safer here, bro. You're safer here, man. Under the cartel, you know what I mean? Like,
it's like when people say to me, like, "Yo, you're where?" I'm like, "I'm in the hood," and everybody's like, "That's dangerous." I'm like, "Not really. I mean, I know how everything's gonna go." Yeah, I get y'all 100%. Yo, I'm really whichever way I can help, and kind of like, first of all, I absolutely want to get on board with that. And I have a rudimentary understanding of these types of things. I know the people that are better at everything than me, and I try to learn from, share, and exchange with those people. But I absolutely want to get on board and like in the early phase of like what you're talking about. Again, it's something that a 19-year-old, Sean Fanning was like, yo, why can't people just share the stuff that they want? You know what I'm saying? And so I'm not dumb to the point where I don't have a belief that, well, that's how it is, so it's got to be that way. Like, I don't believe that. Like, you know what I mean? If it's not right, the reason why they go so hard to suppress a Parler or remove a Donald Trump's Twitter or whatever is because they know people will choose differently. They know they will. They'll just go, no, it makes way more sense. Fuck that.
Yep.
The emperor has no clothes, man. The emperor has no clothes.
Right. And when you show people go like, oh, shit. I just wasn't looking, but now that I'm looking, he doesn't have any clothes, And so I'm absolutely on board, and I want to make sure that we communicate and connect whichever way y'all comfortable with after this, because, like, bro, tying that into obviously crypto, tying that into 3D printing, all of that other type of shit. Like,
Yeah.
yo, I'm on board. I love it. Thank y'all for the.
I was saying, bro, here's the future. Yeah, the future is it's basically people. 3D printing guns are out there, right? That's going to be a thing. But the people who have the best communities, right? They're going to be able to self-finance outside the system, right? This is the thing. So what you're gonna it's almost like a Citadel type future we're going in towards, right? Whichever of the community leaders or the content creators or influencers or whatever you want to call them plow the most value back into their communities, those are the guys that are going to get people gravitate around them. And then if they've got their own ability to tokenize, right? And don't get me wrong, right? There's going to be a shitload of token options. People are going to be tokenizing on all sorts of different services. I'll tell you now, the one that we're building is to try to build in the most libertarianism and freedom into the ideologies behind those tokens. You're going to get all these freaking like rock stars and rappers release their own tokens. It's all going to be done under the guise of a company. It's all going to be well controlled and guided by the establishment. You know that's going to happen. If you don't know that's going to happen, you've not been paying attention. So what we're trying to do is build a token system now where people can distribute these tokens to their community members for doing valuable things for the community. And it won't all be controlled by you, Madge, for example, right? Once your token's out there, it will be controlled by your community, not you personally, if you know what I mean. You can choose to build these things that are controlled purely by you, which gives you a lot of power, probably also gets you in trouble with the SEC. But the idea is to get to avoid that and distribute these tokens in a decentralized way, right? And then we've got, I won't go into details on this video because it gets quite deep, but there's ways to tokenize those to lock value into those in the same way that, for example, the NBA is doing with NFTs. I don't know if you've heard of NFTs, non-fungible tokens, but you can now go buy photos that are taken during the game and they back them in NFTs, which are rare tokens. It's kind of like collecting rare football cards. Those things have value, right? So we're currently building a way for you guys to have like a $10 million token, right? That's got 10 million tokens, and then attach memes to your content. So you release new like rare tokens, and then you get memes on those tokens, so they become collector's items. And the people who hold the most of your base token are able to mine those memes, right? So now you've got a reason for people to hold those tokens, and as long as you're doing cool shit for your community, people will memify it, and then you can attach those memes to rare NFTs, so they become scarce items, right? And now you've got like a value locking mechanism, just like a stock. A stock's like a growth mechanism over time because you get paid out in dividends, right? So
Nick's got an awesome point here. He said, imagine connecting your neighborhood with its own currency.
Yeah, that's exactly this. That's exactly
right?
this, man.
Yeah,
exactly.
Communities are going to have their own market caps. Creators are going to have their own market caps. And what that means is instead of being tipped every month on Patreon or getting donations or fundraising even, what you're going to say is, look, buy my token. You're getting something of value. It could increase in value if the community increases in value. And you're then giving me value and the community value back in return. And you have these circular economies. And before you know it, you have them called breakaway communities. Own currency, own platform, own everything that can't be shut down, that can't be stopped. And what you're going to see is without the shadow bans, you're going to see some of these creators should be much, much, much larger than they really are.
You bring up a huge point, Dan. So, and this came up on Tim Pool's show. You've done Tim's show, right, Mosh? Have you been on Tim's? Okay.
Yo, sidebar. His new crib, he got a half pipe in his basement.
Yeah, I'm sure. Dude gets like 1 million views like at the drop of a hat, right? But so, which is I'll parlay that into another point. But Tim came up with a fantastic point in terms of like the communities themselves, and you have to build culture, right? And like there's a culture around all this stuff, okay? And if you're not building culture, which is something that conservatives are very bad at, right? Like they're good at building culture inside of a church. As soon as like they try and like transport that out, like I can remember I was raised in the Baptist church. Like I can remember like Saturdays, like going out and we had like track Saturdays and Sundays where we would go to people's houses and like, give them tracts and try and get them to the church and stuff like that. Like, the more left side of the political spectrum has done a really amazing job of encapsulating people's attention and getting their allyship from culture, right? What we have to do is we have to find a way to kind of like not take that back, but make it our own, right? And so what's beautiful is on 3Speak, it's agnostic, right? Like it doesn't matter what your culture is, you can build out a community and they're going to compete against each other, right? And so the other thing that you brought up, Dan, which is fantastic, is the creators are masters of their own destiny. If they want to create more, make more, build a bigger community, that's going to be on them. And another Tim Pool point is when people get censored, you always hear about the president, right? Like you always hear about the big name that gets censored. You don't hear about the Maj Touré that gets shadow banned or censored, right? You don't hear about the Eric D. July who gets demonetized and pulled down for something that apparently he said a year ago, which is bullshit. They just don't like what he's saying, right? Like that stuff you don't really hear as much about because those are those creators that are reaching 5, 10, 50, even 100,000 people, but they're not reaching millions, and it stops them from getting to that point.
I just want to say something here. So this technology, it's for the left as well. You know, this freedom is for everybody, right?
Yes.
And so when you, for example, when you click to get a Bitcoin account, it doesn't care who you are, what color your skin is, where you're from, what your political opinions are. It just provides you the tool independently as a user or an independent person, right? It's the same thing with this, right? The content that we're working on, the actual blockchain we use is called Hive. It's the Hive blockchain, right? And we're just one of the apps that's built on top of Hive. And we're also building some infrastructure to make it better for video. But it doesn't care who I am, right? You click to get an account. Once you have the keys, they are your keys, yeah? The people who run Hive are not the CEO of Hive. It's a decentralized community. There is no CEO. There is no company, right?
Yep.
It provides you with an account, and that account is now yours autonomously, outright owned by you. And the system itself is built so it can't do anything about that, right? And it doesn't care, again, like I said, it doesn't care where you're from, who you are, what color your skin is. It will give you that service as long as you have access to an internet connection and a device, right? Yep. And then from that point forward, right, you build your community. So your community, the blockchain keeps a list of who's in that community. And it's owned by the keys to that community are owned by you. You set the moderators, you set the content muting. And if the Hive community, the Hive blockchain doesn't like you, there's basically nothing they can do about it because you own the keys. You own the keys to it, right? The same thing for your digital data and your digital assets, any currency that you collate, it's all yours. And what it ends up being is it's one account system layer on the bottom, and then the apps are built on top. So there's like on Hive, there's like a Twitter alternative called Hive.buzz. There's a video alternative called 3Speak. There's a blogging alternative called PeakD and Hive.blog. There's loads of different apps built on there, right? And what it means is that the apps can't stop me from using them, right? And even if they did, I can still go to another app. And every piece of content that I publish, so Madge, on your website, if this was tied into this network, every piece of content you issue onto your website goes on your front end on your website, on your webpage. But it will also, if you wish, get copied to the whole network so that all these other websites that are pulling from the same set of data get your content and present it to their front ends as well. So your data won't just, this is where you get away from the siloing thing, right? This is the establishment wants us to silo onto our own websites and then marginalize us, right? So over time, what's going to happen is if you start using these types of Web3 infrastructures, you're going to basically be making your content available to all these other people who are tied into the network, all these other front ends, and they're going to be able to pull that shit to their front end. So if one of them's not doing very well, but these guys over here are doing really well, everyone's going to see your content on there, you know? And it just becomes, it's like playing whack-a-mole at that point. It's like, oh, we've got to shut this guy down, but then 5 other freaking ones pop up. And all this stuff is open source. So you don't need to like employ like a really expensive developer to go and build your website out and customize all that stuff. All the front ends are open source. So you can go copy the front ends. You can go set them up fairly cheaply in a couple of days. You can get them running. I mean, they look fairly standardized, but as we get more advanced, there'll be lots of different versions and people start contributing more. But the idea is it's all open source. So you like there's probably about 6 months worth of dev work right there, open source available to you. You can go take it, put it onto your website for free, and it operates and it ties everything into this decentralized Web3 network, yeah? And this, there's nothing they can do to stop this, man. And to me, like it brightens up my day because we've been through some dark times, yeah? Let's face it, you know, like all this stuff is going on with GME and then blocking the trading, the president being censored, so many of the small guys being censored that don't get noticed. That is gone. It's a time of the past. We are over this now, right? And just that people don't know about it yet. But as we learn more, it's a slightly different way of thinking. But it's coming, man. It's coming, and we're going to break through the chains, as it were.
How can people get involved that are watching this, that want to be involved and support and get engaged with this technology?
I'll let Dan speak a bit on that. I've been speaking a lot.
Yeah, there's plenty of different websites. Hiveonboard.com is sort of like a open source nonprofit site that just teaches users about how to get involved with Web3, what account ownership is, and then people are able to just get a free Hive account. And the cool thing about this is you get a free account and it's yours for life. That's yours. So you get one for free, and now you have a free Web3 account that no one can take off. Worst case scenario is you're booted off of every front end. Speaking of the small people that get kicked off, I was on Twitter. I got banned almost 8 months ago. They didn't tell me why. My Twitter account started to blow up. Right, I was about 7,000 followers, but I was at 5,000 a week before. And it seems a lot of small people. It's like a club, right? The pre-10K club. They didn't quite make it to 10K. We talked to each other, and it always seemed right when they were starting to blow up. And I wonder how many thousands and thousands of people have been silenced. And it's like a whole generation of just people silent. It's like nobody knows about it because they weren't big enough. And then people just give up, or they go to these other platforms. And yeah.
Well, one thing I appreciate too about your guys' platform is even if in a very rare instance, I forget what the name, there's basically these authenticators. I forget what they're called. They're called authenticators or
to sign into things.
No. Individuals or nodes that are out there that basically
witnesses.
Yes, witnesses. All right. So there's these witnesses, and they're not of any single persuasion, flavor, or anything like that. But there is something that you can do to get kicked off, and it's basically illegal, right? You have to physically threaten harm or something like that.
What happens is you have to get 18 ounces to agree that you're no good for the chain, right?
Yeah, and this is a diverse population, so it never happens.
So what happens is there's never been an instance where there's a hard fork to cut off text, because we're dealing with just text content on Hive. So you don't have to deal with any of the images and video, which is obviously much worse. Right. With text, there can be threats. There is quote unquote illegal content on Hive. There are some whistleblower content. There is stuff that, FBI and stuff had told front ends, hey, you better take this down. But they haven't been able to take it off of Hive. And what it becomes is it's not visible until somebody puts it on the front end. Well, then whoever puts it on the front end is a point of failure. And then the government or whoever can come and stomp those people out. So as long as it's not displayed on a front end, therefore it's basically invisible. Doesn't mean it's not there. And you could have somebody in, let's say, some crazy country with no laws pull up a front end that's decentralized, like a Satoshi Nakamoto front end. Nobody knows who created it. And it's just there. I'm not giving any ideas, but it's just there and no one can stop it. And, that can easily happen.
Yeah.
So,
and that being said, it still lives. It still lives on, right? Anyone who's been outright deplatformed, they just wake up one day to a message that says your account basically has been suspended, and then everything's gone, right? It's just ghosted. That doesn't exist on the blockchain. There's a history, there's a memory to it. So if someone were, and you talked earlier, Maj, about security and stuff like that, if someone goes missing, their stuff doesn't get taken down, right? If you get black bagged in reality, okay, on the blockchain, you still live on. So it's not like they can completely eliminate you. Now, obviously, the state, all they know is violence when it comes to, someone who's out competing them. But that's at least a redeeming part of this, or one of the biggest selling points of it, is that your stuff lives in infamy forever, right? And so whoever wants to broadcast that, it's also it's a much more competitive environment, right? So big companies can't just dump a $10 million ad buy on blockchain if it's a crappy ad buy, right? It will get downvoted, and basically they'll just light cash on fire, right? If they want to do that. Yeah. There's just not that capability to be able to monopolize the platform, which anyone who's a YouTube creator, they understand that maybe 2-3 years ago, your top your top recommended videos a lot of times were like independent creators and stuff like that. All of a sudden, a couple of years ago, it was like Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, like all of the big media companies. And you're like, well, what the hell just happened? And it was like, oh, well, obviously they signed a deal where they bought a certain amount of ad, spending on the platform, and that's why they got top treatment. That's just not going to happen. It's like it's a little bit more complicated than people are used to, but it's so much more free in terms of the market.
The way I see it, Matt, you started off there by saying our platform. It's not our platform.
Well,
it's owned by the community,
Yeah.
And this is where the onus comes in. Because by open sourcing it and making it available so that Madge can go and spin up his own version in 5 minutes if he wants to, right? If he doesn't like what we're doing on our platform, he can go and spin up his own version, and everyone can gravitate towards that if they want, right? What you're doing is you're taking the centralized gatekeeper approach that Web 2 has, which is Jack Dorsey being the all-powerful man that he is, yeah? And you're distributing that to a community. And what happens is we got attacked a year ago, and we can go into that a bit later maybe, but we got attacked as a blockchain by the Chinese, and we managed to get through it. And what it was, basically, they tried to buy us, because you can put loads of money into these things and take over the government.
The 51% rule, right?
The 51% rule. But what our community did what you just said, and it burned itself down and recreated a new one over there and just left. Right. And we realized that you can't, it's a fairly safe thing to say that you can't buy a community, because if you try to buy a community, it's like offensive to the community. And a lot of people take offense within the communities, and then they turn crazy batshit and just leave. Right.
Yeah.
And they burn it down and leave. And that's the defense. The defense of blockchain, especially DPoS blockchains, delegated proof of stake blockchains, is the community itself. And you try attacking or coercing or buying out a community, you're gonna get a lot of hate online, because those people are decentralized, and there's many of them, right? That's the defense, and it's freaking beautiful, because it's the Web 2 world has not thought of this. When empowering the community to defend itself, no, their brains aren't even close to that yet.
Yeah.
And it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be a beautiful time, man.
Dude, Maj, it's like giving people digitally 3D printed guns. It's fantastic.
Yes. Yes.
As he said that, I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yes.
That's kind of for the BGM. It was just like when I was saying in the beginning, I was like, yeah, we're just going to arm everybody to be themselves, as well as be informed and safe, responsible gun owners in their community. And people were like, so what lawyer's going to go with you? What trainer's going to go with you? I'm like, none. There's trainers and lawyers in the community that we're going to. Like,
in our world, just
on its own.
To most extent, code is law, right? The guy that created this technology is called Dan Larimer. He's quite a libertarian guy, and that I recall, his first phrase we got in this about 4 or 5 years ago was building government out of conflict resolution. Building government out of conflict resolution, right? Because the government, as we advance this tech, the government won't need to be part of the freaking conflict resolution part of anything, right? It just gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So it's going to be great, and it perfectly fits in line with the culture that you're talking about, Madge. With gun ownership and with communities. The thing is, on top, I'm listening to what you're saying. On top of that, these communities are going to be able to self-finance under their own regulations. I mean, it's powerful stuff. It's very, very counter the establishment.
Well, and that was one part of the conversation. I'll let you speak to this, Maj. One part of the conversation of kind of like the racial conversation that we're having in the United States these days. Something that gets missed is just the idea of how government and the corruption of government extracts wealth out of the black community, right? And so like a couple of years ago, there was this conversation, I don't know if you saw this, about how like money circulates in different like racial communities, right? In the black community, it circulates like one time. Yeah. No, and then it basically gets sucked out.
Right. And then the beauty of these are things that I call beautiful uglies. The way that they push against that is when somebody like me says, yo, man, if you live in a black community, minus the fact that I didn't say if you're black. If you live in a black community, if you live insert whatever quote unquote color, you should want the money and the resource, not even money, the resource in that community should make that community flourish. My Jewish homies are like, yo, you need to make every dollar a slave. And I'm like, that makes sense. And not to be crass, but it becomes make these resources work to the benefit of yourself, your family, your collective, and then going out voluntarily, right? And so when you say, hey man, this community should, we live here, we happen to be black, the dollar should stay here. Hey man, we need like a hardware store. Oh, that's identity politics. No, it's not. It's community.
Yep.
No, it's not. It's hey, if you don't want to, we understand why you don't want to. We not tripping. But hey, we got this stuff here if you want it. That is different than saying we hate you because you're not the same melanin content level that we are. Yep. What's happened is they've made, the left in their PR, and I only say the left because it's so overwhelming on the left, not because those aren't still our brothers and sisters.
Mm-hmm.
When it happens that way, or I won't even say the left, the rank and file. It'll be like the puppeteers at the top of the left, right? Or whatever. They'll say, you're talking about racism and separatism. But then when I go, like, I'll have a conversation about reparations, and I'll say, let's be open to the conversation, right? I'm not with the government printing up gangs of money regardless. But then you have to deal with the fact that, okay, well, we just fired up the money machines for like $20 trillion over the last year. And I'm paraphrasing, but like not too far off. And so to tell black people, well, where's the money gonna come from? Motherfucker, you just printed up a gang of money. And then when I talk to my Jewish homies and they're like, no, my mom and her mom got reparations. When I talk to my Japanese American homies, they're like, bro, my granddad absolutely got reparations. Fuck are you talking about? And so it's more like the spit in the face and the contradiction that if I say black community, somehow it means I'm evil and reverse racist. And in reality, it's culture. It's my white homies that live in North Philly, like me, they have a culture that they relate to. They're going to get harassed by the same corrupt cop the same way as I am on that same street because of the culture. My point, though, is these are things that would actually allow the market in reality make the choice. I don't even, as you're talking, I'm trying to come up with a way to show how cronyism could sneak through. I'm in my mind going like, well, how could cronyism make its way? I can't figure it out. I don't see how like the crony could go, oh, let's go this way. When you said China, I was like, well, no, China will just like buy up a bunch of the space. But if people start to know like, hey, that's not really me. That's like the play. And people go, oh, hell no. It's equivalent to how like people are like willingly saying, I'm going to lose money on this GME stock on purpose. Not because I'm stupid as an investor, but I'm making a conscious decision to say, fuck you. You are doing something that's wrong to the people. And you're trying to paint us as the villains. And you're actually the villain. When you have a community that currency is attached to that and you can't stop it, I don't see how cronyism and the bullshit can really infiltrate.
Right.
It's almost like the speed. It's like the speed of violence in a gunfight is really fast. And you have to be prepared. It's either you're prepared for it or you're not. The speed of that information with people that have resources, you might for like 2 minutes be like, okay, we think we got him. And then somebody will go, what? That's bullshit. Hey guys, that's bullshit. Look. And it's over. It's over. Yep. So I think even in Mexico, man, and again, I want to make sure that we're putting positive vibes out all day. I trust my friend Tone Trump has a saying, he's Muslim. He says, trust Allah, but tie your camel, which means like, I trust God, but I still got a gun on me. You know what I'm saying? If you believe in this concept called God, insert whatever thing. So I think that what you're doing and what you guys are doing is so amazing. I absolutely am going to try to figure out a way to get involved immediately. On top of that, I want y'all to really understand Gandhi got fucking shot. And Gandhi was very peaceful. You know what I'm saying? And I want y'all to be on point. I hope y'all got whatever I can help y'all with, in that regard, I'm here as well. I want to be of service. You know what I mean? And I want to be involved, but I'm just telling y'all are like Johnny Depp in that movie. Fucking the movie where he put his mind into like the computer and shit.
What was that? Inception? Was that Inception?
No, not Inception. It's a Johnny Depp movie where before he died, he had like this disease. And before he died, he was working on this thing where he could put his consciousness into like computers and then cyberspace. And then it would go into like nanoparticles and shit like that. So his mind and his thoughts operating through wires and then Wi-Fi could create like fucking water and land and shit. And
God, I feel super flattered, man. I don't want you to talk about me like that, though, man. We're just normal guys, We just came up with this tech, and we didn't come up with the tech actually, but we're just part of the community,
It's because his whole thing was, we just want to make information available, and because he did that, he was able to infiltrate all of the information and share it.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's it, man.
To do.
Transcendence. Transcendence was the name of it. Yeah.
What was it called?
Transcendence.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so the government obviously was like, yeah, fuck you.
Yeah.
And so, but it had already got to a point where they couldn't really stop it. And I think this is that. And I don't mean to deify any individuals. I think individuals are amazing. But I think individuals voluntarily coming together to do a collective good, I think are even more fucking amazing. And so just like hats off to y'all, man. Whichever way y'all need me, man. And I'm not saying that like Hollywood, like say it on the fucking screen shit. I'm saying it like in reality. Like I'm gonna bug the shit out of y'all like after this. Like Matt, I'm gonna be like, yo, bug me with them. Like here go my burner number. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Matt, have we opened up a can of worms here?
No, I'll tell you what. When push comes to shove, you want Maj on your side. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I know, man. I know.
It does sound like you got some attack dogs in the back there, Matt, though.
This is Mexico, man. This is Mexico. You got to know who's around the house.
Yeah. It's the early warning system.
we got the big ones far away and the small ones closer, because the small ones know,
Yeah.
Hey, yo, listen, I'm about to get out of here. Matt, get everybody, you know what I mean? Dan, everybody, contact me. Let me know whichever way I can help. Man, I'm down.
That's appreciated, bro.
Appreciate it.
I'm even almost on like, yo, y'all should come. I'm doing CPAC in a couple of like weeks. I don't know if y'all want to like pop into America and pop out. Either way, whichever way y'all need some resources and whichever way I can lend energy, I'm down. You know what I'm saying? I want everybody that's watching this cast to really, really understand. Like people talk about Apple now in a very good way, where I have my back and forth about Apple, right? However, as far
centralized, bro, centralized.
Right. When Steve Jobs was like, hey, put all of this stuff in whatever. But I think that when you talk about like a stock price, when people go like, man, I had Apple stock back in 19, whatever, and they didn't see it. I want the people watching to really like tap into what's being discussed by these gentlemen right now. You have the ability to take your freedom in a digital space, in a physical space, because those are now very symbiotic a lot of times. And I want y'all to really, really, I'm not saying that like what I'm good at is like, I'm a point guard. I can see shit. And I see people that see shit. And so I really want y'all to get behind these guys. I just pulled up the website not long ago. I'm going to go set up an account. I want y'all to really, really, really dig in. Watch this podcast all over again. Share it as much as possible. Tell people about it. That coin and monetization system that they're talking about is a legitimate threat. That's some patriot shit. And I want y'all to really understand that. And I'm saying that from a place of love, empathy, not knowing all of the technical terms about the shit, knowing that something that feels genuinely good and can do good is something that we absolutely, should get behind. So I just want to put them vibes out there for everybody to really resonate with. You know what I mean?
Matt, can I just add here, Matt? I just want to add one thing quickly.
Go for it.
Really appreciate your vibes, man. I really, really do. And like having just met you, I really appreciate putting yourself behind this. The other thing that I think is happening right now, there's talk from Jack Dorsey about building, and several other of the original centralized gatekeepers, about building decentralized social media. They're doing this right now, right? And I can smell it a mile away. I know exactly what they're doing. They're going to come out and say, we didn't censor anyone now on this. You can't censor on this. It's like, please forgive us. Yeah. It's like, don't use their technology, man. Once you step into their world, you are their slaves, Like you got to go into tech that's decentralized, and it's just, there's no CEOs, there's no owners, there's no people getting credit. I don't want no credit, right? We're just members of the community. We just understood this a little bit earlier than other people, but there's people way far greater than us building the foundation of this, And you guys are other guys that will be able to come in and get involved, right? But have no doubt, and trust me, because don't trust me. You can go verify the code for yourself. You can pay people to verify it for you. I'm not here putting backdoors into this. There's no one doing anything like that, But don't doubt that these freaking big tech guys are going to come out with something soon that's decentralized and allows everyone to have their freedom. Come and use our platform, but you'll never be able to release a token for yourself on it, or unless it's by our rules, right? No freaking just be very careful, because that's coming, Be skeptical.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank all three of you. I appreciate you guys taking the time. I know all three of you are very busy. So I do not take that lightly. I thank you so much. You guys are all doing fantastic work in the arenas that you guys are working in. So I want to say thank you. Any last words? Maj, anything else? I got the GoFundMe up here. Also make sure to check out Shopify. Anything else you got coming down the pike?
Everybody, I'll be in Milwaukee on the 7th. Come out and learn. Go train. Go study. Go learn some coding. Go. Take a tourniquet class. Take a first aid class. Take a growing your own food class. Fucking collect some rainwater. All of your success is a direct fuck you to the people that don't want your freedom. So however small that is on your personal level, absolutely go do it.
Awesome. Matt, Dan, anything else?
I just want to say thanks for having us on. It's nice meeting you, Maj. And for anyone listening, it's free to get involved with Web3. Go ahead and sign up at hiveonboard.com, get a free account, and test out what it's like to have your own private keys, how to secure them. Don't put any money in, and don't do anything like that. Just learn how Web3 works and account ownership. And that's going to be invaluable in the next 10 years, I can assure you.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Gentlemen, have a good evening. Everyone, remember, we're here every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. We will see you next week. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
There are so many reasons to decentralize, whether it's lack of control over your own data, platforms where you are the product and get paid little to no money, or censorship and government oversight into your personal communications. That's why I'm taking a journey to decentralize my social media as well as my life. Make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and check out the Decentralize Everything playlist on this channel. Whether you're curious or looking to decentralize too, I would love your company as I make a move to break free, take control, and decentralize everything.